no games after the 17th.
I don't think there is. I think
And-
that's it.
So that if we can go ahead and move it on a day that they come in on Tuesday to service it, they may not charge us anything. But I can call them and find out.
There's a hand over here.
That's a good question.
2 years ago, there was more than enough porta pots in the park. But we have the museum, we have the park. It looks to me like people have to come to Diane's, they come to my place, they plug hers up.
It's kind of tough
And
to
it's
handle
kinda
when it
nice
gets
to
filled by
have one in the
busload.
park through the summertime, that's all I got to say.
Yeah.
Well, I think they ought to move it.
Well, we can have them do that, but we need to
Approve that.
approve that first if we want
Just
to.
as a charge for it.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if I don't recall that we paid it, if I need to pay a cleaning deposit for the Main Street, we can do that. I think that's listed on there, but I wasn't sure we did that last year or not, I couldn't remember.
I don't think we did.
I don't think we did
No,
either,
you
but
couldn't even tell anything happened the next morning, it was pretty cleaned up by then anyways.
Mm-hmm.
we usually manage to get it done that night while the band's packing up.
Yeah. I know the fire department, don't they come in and wash the street down the day?
They do
before?
that beforehand, yes, they'll clean the street off. They usually do that for us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I motion we accept the special events application from Tuber.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the special events application for the Two Bear and a second, all in favor.
Aye.
Thank you, does that include the open container then?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Jan, she can put it in the phone.
Just to be specific, you approve the
Yeah.
waiver of the open container throughout town from those times from 11 in the
For the
morning.
parking to, yeah, parking in the
Park
street.
in the
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Okay, we're on old business. This is real.
I wanted to bring up old business as far as my sewer situation. Because back, I know in March, April, the April meeting was discussed that we would get together, the mayor, the council, and myself, along with Cotter, and assess the situation out there because Cotter's has been out there so many times to open that up and make a plan and go forth from there, which it actually has never happened. We've never gotten together. The councilmen have come out and looked at it, and then I didn't know that you guys were gonna be discussing it in the last meeting, so I was not able to take off work to be here. So, and I know back in April that they asked me what I would expect. And I do have a list that I'll give you guys for each council, of what I would expect, and I would expect, you know, there's like bullet points here. So I'll just give that to you guys, you can read over it, and then maybe we can get together, discuss that, make sure that we're both on the same page, because obviously we're not. Because it seems like you're trying to put a Band-Aid on this big, huge thing that's gonna continue to happen unless it's done right.
Well,
I know
see, and
Connors
I just
knows
have
how to
one,
do it.
I have one question, is that, you've been out there, what, 4 years? In that, on that residence?
Yeah,
And why wasn't this problem ever brought up to the council before?
because I figured it was just one of those years that it was gonna be doing that. When
But
it
you've sent
continued
us
to do
copies of
that,
bills for the last 3 or 4 years.
and when it continued to do that, then that was when something needed to be done, because I can no longer afford to keep paying Cotters. And it's actually the town's part of the sewer that the town is responsible for on it. And I was not there when it was put in. I don't know if it was
Right.
put in right, and that goes back to you guys, whether it got put in right, who put it in, who
Well,
inspected it.
no, actually, it's the contractor's responsibility.
Well,
From
then
your
that's
house
whoever
to
you
me.
had.
From the
you know,
house, we didn't
that's-
do it. It's
Well,
a
it's
property
the town's
property
responsibility from that clean out to your thing. From my
No.
property back to my house,
It
it's
is our
mine.
responsibility to the tap on the sewer line.
Here we go.
No,
It's not our responsibility that your line is 18 inches deep and it's too shallow and freezes
from
up.
that clean out to your tap, that's your town's responsibility. That's on your property. I have to maintain that property for you because of the road. The road was not in there apparently when that was put in.
No, I know it
So, I
wasn't.
mean,
We have to get that.
obviously, whoever put it in, which I don't know, how am I supposed to know? I wasn't there.
What
You
does-
guys should have a record of it,
What does the ordinance state?
you know?
I think it states from the sewer line, the main sewer line, where they tap into it to the residents. And your line, the main sewer line is over there by that other house, by that, well, when they get it, by the green garbage can,
Right.
which goes underneath the road and probably
Curves up.
15, 20 feet
Now, does
up
that-
to the other, to the main.
Did you guys look at that? Let me ask Jim, because he probably knows about that. When they put that line in and came off of Lover's Lane, did they hook into Blewett? Did they go around the corner and hook into Blewett
I'm not sure.
for that sewer line? Because it's not really noted on the map.
I thought last meeting or whatever, you guys talked about you were gonna go down and do that, fix that.
We're
We're
looking-
still waiting
we
for
were-
the
we
film
were
from
looking- yeah.
Cotter too.
Yeah, and I called Cotters and asked them for the copy of the video. You paid for the video to video
The camera,
that
he's
line.
cambered it
Right,
twice.
and so that is you own that property, so you have to get the video from Cotters,
Okay, I can
so
do
that we can look at it and see where we're at with that, because there are just too many, it's so convoluted over there that,
Yeah, it's a mess,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's not gonna work until it actually is fixed, and I shouldn't have to continue to go through that every single winter. I mean, emotionally and financially is not well to have somebody have to go through that every winter.
I've been doing it for 6 years.
And be having to find somebody else house to go to for 2 or 3 days, or use a bucket to do your duty in, because you can't do it during the middle of the night at somebody else's house. So something definitely has to be fixed. And something, we need to somehow work together to get this fixed the proper way. And not just put a Band-Aid on it. You can't just put dirt on it and expect it to still not freeze up. And since Cotters knows what's going on there and knows what needs to be done, I think he's the best one to come out and assess it and give us a bid on it and see what we need to do. And I think that's something that needs to be worked together with everybody, and it needs to be in writing so that everybody is on the same page and not over here, over there, or, not getting it done. But it needs to be done before it starts getting cold.
Did you have the problem before they put that new road in there?
I don't know. we
Because the
don't have
city
any
put that
re-
road in there.
I know, but we don't have any written complaints or anybody saying anything that was a problem, before Mrs. Rio bought that
But I
property.
thought someone said that was sinking because of that road and it's putting
Well,
pressure
no,
on that
what
pipe.
they did was they just put some gravel and pavement over it, but it already had a dip in it.
I just wanted to give you that.
It wasn't sinking, it already dipped down, so.
For you guys.
There's a hand over here. It'd be nice if you'd recognize it.
And just for what it's worth, I would thought about,
Let me apologize first, Mark. I know you had your hand up and I ask you, please wait just 1 minute. Mr. Kirtley, you're out of line. Go ahead, Mark.
Oh,
I had a long discussion with Ted Hogan
Mhm.
about, I was gonna run my house into city sewer. He
Right.
told me he helped his house and her place tie in the blue at both, because that's where I was gonna tie in, so.
They're both tied into.
That's what he told me, he helped do it apparently, because he was a backhoe operator back in the day.
Yeah,
So he helped do it, he said those two houses were tied in to Blewett.
into that corner on Blewett. Okay. Well, that's what I was pretty sure that they did, but it's not indicated on any of our maps.
That's just what he
They
told me.
tied in,
So,
yeah. Thank you. Eric.
What was also discussed in previous meetings was the fact that this winter was also colder than some of the others, therefore the frost line being driven over more with the road being in there has also caused the frost line to go down deeper. Therefore, prior to that being put in there, there probably wasn't an issue. Now that the road is in there and you have a colder winter, driving over it that much, you're pushing that frost line over, you're gonna freeze it up every time.
Well, I will say that there is traffic on that road, but very little traffic on that road.
In the wintertime, it won't matter.
It does
You
not
keep
take
driving,
much.
you keep driving the moisture down into,
The other thing
pipes.
is once you
Yeah.
change the grade, you now change the level of the depth of her line.
Correct.
Exactly.
So that's what needs to be
Well,
looked at,
unless,
so we need to
unless
find
her
out who
line is
did it.
dug deeper than 18 inches coming out of her house into our line, her line is still gonna freeze up, no matter what. Because
See,
18
that's-
inches is very shallow.
That's where I do have a call into Brandon to come out and assess that whole line and give me a bid on it.
Okay,
I do have a call into it,
okay.
just so you guys are aware. I haven't heard back from him yet, but there was a call into him. As he's the one that, every year he goes, well, I was wondering when you'd call me, Gene, you'd come do your line again. So he expects it every single year.
Okay, well, if you will get the town a copy of the video and when they cambered the line, so
Okay.
we can see,
Let's set up a time.
You need
Yeah.
to see where that low spot is.
right,
Right.
The
and-
thing is, to correct the low spot, and then we were thinking of building the road grade up to match from one end to the other, which would put it underground, far enough where the frost line wouldn't hit it. Not just throw a shovel full of dirt on it.
But what if that's, how's that gonna affect my drive when I come up out of there? Is that gonna make it a higher
It'll
grade
make
to
it
come
a
up
pretty-
out?
That'll make a higher grade coming
Pretty
up,
steep
but
hump.
that,
So that was another concern of mine.
it also just taper your driveway down a little more too. So
Yeah.
so you wouldn't be going up like this, but that is a real dip in the road, and that's why
Right.
it's so shallow.
Yeah.
You can't dig it down 4 foot and then expect it to flow back up too,
You'd
A
have
lot.
to have a lift pump.
and that's not feasible.
So that's why I said we need to have Brandon out there from Cotter's, because he knows what's going on with that line and has the video and stuff. And go from there.
yeah, we need a
Is
copy
that
of that
agreeable?
video, yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we're just trying to get all of our information together so that we know where we're going with it. Because right at this point, we're not really sure, or I wasn't until just recently when Mark, I was pretty sure it hooked into Blewett, but I wasn't positive because like I said, our maps are not the best in the world for those things. And that line was put in, I don't know how many years ago, long before there was even a road there coming off of Lover's Lane. And then they paved the road, so, but we're agreeable to try and get as much done as we can. And
Okay.
what we can get done as far as, so it alleviates your pressure, so you don't have to worry about that.
Right, right.
But you are going to have to dig your line from your house to the main, you're gonna have to set that lot deeper. 18
And that's
inches
why
is,
I need
18 inches ain't gonna do it.
Cotter's out there. That's
Right.
why I want him out
Okay.
there.
All
Because
right,
he knows what's going on.
yeah,
But I wish that you guys would communicate, whether it be a voicemail, a text, or whatever, because I know I work nights. So if you leave a text mail or voice letting me know, you're on the agenda, we're going to be doing this meeting about this, on your property, let me know.
okay, well, as soon as you get with Cotter's, get a copy of that video, and then, give us kind of a schedule as when you're available to meet. And then we'll go from there and we'll get a meeting, but I want Cotter's here also, so.
Right, that's what I think needs to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree on that.
Okay,
And then everything in writing, would be nice to have everything in writing, so that we know where each other's at
mhm,
on it.
okay,
Okay. All right, that's all I have then.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Mrs. Milford.
Okay, I was told not to come to the last meeting because I wasn't on the agenda. I had a letter, what we needed, but I was told that I was on the agenda, I didn't need to come. And then,
Well, you can come anyway because we have public comment.
well, I'm just saying that I was told that
Who told you not to come?
Jan said that I wasn't on the agenda, so I didn't come to the
She
meeting.
didn't have her meeting and she didn't have her list ready and I told her that.
No, I had the list ready,
It
and
wa- it
I
was
wanted
the
to know
day-
if you needed it for the meeting for Monday, and
Monday,
you told me,
and it
no, I
was-
didn't need
it
it,
was
I wasn't on the
late.
agenda.
It was late, so the agenda was already done. And so I just said we couldn't put it on the meeting, but,
On the agenda
On
for
the
a
agenda.
specified item, okay,
yes.
okay.
Well,
And that's what I meant. I'm sorry, came across wrong.
then after, I've got probably 100 phone calls, texts. I mean, it was just people calling the restaurant relentlessly, calling my home relentlessly, texting me, telling me, you better watch Montana Code Allocated, some of the stuff that was said, and is this true, is that true? Are you gonna be able to have water to the house is up for sale, can you sell the house without water? Does the business in the house have to go to, I mean, it just went on and on. So I just like to go back to old business and start with some of the stuff that was said and why was it said at the meeting last time. The attorney said that my property was a multi-use property.
When did I say that?
In the video I watched it, we've had quite a
I
few
never
people.
said it was a multi-use.
Okay, yeah, you,
I never used those words.
okay. Well, anyway, it's not, it has two separate tax bills, it's two separate properties. And that could have been found out.
Residential and business.
Right, it has a residential and a commercial use
Right.
for that property. And that could have been found out easily. My realtor called down to Red Lodge and found out instantly that it was two separate properties.
Mhm.
So that didn't have to get said or come out later, but whether it was said or not, we didn't watch it in the video. Another thing, it says that I wanted the whole property annexed when I annexed the business. I came to you and told you to annex it. Wrong. The house was annexed in 2002. The land the house was annexed in was done in 2002.
The house was.
The house.
Yes.
Part there.
Mhm. Everything except for the 2-point-some acres that the
Right,
business is on.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, was in town, okay. There was a resolution 443 where the house was approved, and I've got letters from Sharon Barnes, I got with Chuck Barnes, it was went out there, and they were on the committee zoning to approve it, along with Bill Rivers, and I've got letters from all these people. So the house was approved by the town,
Okay.
okay, so that's understood too.
Mhm.
And it was, done on June 2nd, 2014, and the minutes reflect all of that as well, okay? The attorney stated that there was no permits for what she called the big barn, which is our storage unit.
Storage units.
The addition on the thing and the cabins. In the state of Montana, any commercial property has to be done by the state of Montana, and that was Darrell Abbey. He approved everything on the commercial lot. The permits were gotten for everything there, permits were paid in full and filed with the state, and we had the Red Lodge surveying come out, and he surveyed the property and got back with our people to show that everything on the commercial property is commercial, everything on the residential property is residential, and he went ahead and surveyed the whole property and took pictures of everything, just to say.
Let me clarify my comment, and that was you never asked for a zoning permit to put up the barn. That's different from state code.
Nothing on commercial goes through a zoning permit, it goes through the building inspector, state
I'd
building
like to
inspector.
get
Okay.
the town of Fromberg has a zoning ordinance, okay, for each of the different districts. And for any of the building that's going on for new buildings, you're required to fill out the zoning application
But
and go through.
it is
the
not
whole
annexed
process.
into the town of Fromberg.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Do you know Montana Code Allocated?
Yes, I do.
Have you read it?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So you're saying, you're familiar with this, you've read it,
Yes.
and you're gonna still try to say that?
I know there's 3 different ways to annex properties. The way you chose to do it was by a petition to annex filed by yourself and your husband.
Okay.
And we went through that.
Okay, well,
It was
like I said,
approved.
that's just another
And it's-
moot point. And the part about saying that I don't want to go there. You don't know me, you don't know where I want to go, what I'm doing, whatever. Please don't make any more comments about us or our business unless it's factual, because everything we've seen has not been factual. So getting over that point, on with the water situation. It was said at the last meeting that you don't need to help us. Is that the position you're gonna stand on now, or what are you doing? We had come to.
I never said that we were not.
No, you weren't even here for that. But I came to a meeting and it was,
Okay.
everybody was in agreement that they were gonna try to work with us and everything else. And I was pretty stupid because I thought that we were all on the same page and working together. And next thing I know, it's like, here I'm hit with this, you know? So,
What, excuse me, what's the issue? Why are you not getting water?
What we wanted to do was just put in another meter.
That
You need
goes
the
back a
meter
long
for the
ways
house.
when Eldo put it in. It was just a fly-by-night thing, no permits, no nothing. The line is not big enough to handle the bar and the house. It needs a 2-inch main in there. And that's the whole thing right there, is it needs to have a new main put in. And your Spencer at one of the meetings that I listened to, well, I was here for that meeting, was very adamant that the town puts the water line to the property line, and from the property line on, it's the owners to go the rest of the way. That's town ordinance. Okay. There is no main to that house. The house is annexed into the city. There's no water main to that house. It
But
comes
what
off,
they did was they wired off of the other one.
they come off of the other line.
Off the
and
business
it's not-
line, and that's why it's both run
it's
through
not-
one meter.
It's not work, it's all going through one meter.
Right,
The thing to do is to put in a new water main, but that's gonna be up to the town to get a permit from the city, or from the state, to go down the edge of the bar ditch over to the property line. Now, the first property line you're gonna hit is a property line to the resident, or to the business part of the thing. You gotta continue on and go between the bar and them storage units and over, because the house is way back behind there. That's the residential property line right there. That's where the main should go to. Now, if Susan is willing to work with the town as far as the expenses, but you could eliminate a lot of main. I wish I'd had you make me some, can you make me some copies of this? If you come in and go to the business part, and then 90 the 2-inch between the two buildings, and then 90 it back to the north. You could hook the old line on right there where 90's at first. That goes over. There's three curb stops there. One for the bar, one for the house, one for the cabins. You can eliminate them 2 curb stops, them 2 lines go underneath the building. And then you could tie the house onto that 2-inch line, just on the other side of that building, and you could eliminate 200 feet of main from there to the property line of the house. Which would work out good for everybody, save everybody a bunch of money. And that's the whole thing in a nutshell, it just needs a bigger water line. And it's up to the town to come to the property line. Susan will work with the city on some of the expenses.
But I thought in there was some kind of limitation as far as if you were X number of feet away from the main.
That's sewer.
yeah, the ordinance says that if you're within 100 feet of the main, you have to be on the city lines.
Is
Yeah.
that
Water
city
and
and
sewer.
water? Is that
Water
water?
and sewer, yeah.
You gotta be honest, and she's got papers that says the town agreed to do this. I haven't seen those. I can explain it a lot better if you look at this sheet. I drew that, this is not a engineering feat for me. I mean, it's just, but if you look at the bottom of the sheet where the water line comes in, you'll see where it hits the first property line. That's the business part, that's the commercial part. Then if you run up straight up here, you can see where that circle around there is. In 90's there, that's 2-inch, and then 90's again. Okay, this existing line goes up, you could tie onto that, eliminate 2 of them curb stops right there, and then tie this house water line on where it comes out from underneath there, so save digging all of this up again. So that's basically what it needs, it's just a 2-inch line to there.
And what is the existing, how big is the existing
I
line?
think it's 1 inch, but I'm not sure.
We don't know where the existing line is. And when you make comments that this existing line could be somewhere, whether it is or it's not, that's not really a good public comment unless we know for sure that I'm dealing with that too. Because right now, I'm dealing with DEQ, I'm dealing with the engineer that I had to hire, and they want to know where the water and sewage is coming in from. I mean, it's just common sense. They don't want your water coming in from his well in his backyard coming into the restaurant. There's no easement. It's a public building.
When they put in that water line, did you get an easement from Beekler's or from the highway department?
It was in 2002. It was El Nokini in 2002. There was.
But there should be an easement filed if there was one
There was
done.
never an easement filed. That's why I went to Red Lodge and got the paperwork on that. And there was never an
They just went out
easement
there and dug it?
anywhere filed. They
That's
dug
what
it.
they did back then. They didn't give easements.
They just done back then,
They just did it.
And to say that easement could be going through Mike Beekler's house where there's sewage problem is probably not a good idea when I'm dealing with DEQ. Let's not open that can of worms when I've already got enough of them. So let's sort of find out where the water line goes before we make assumptions or comments in a public forum that can get
Yeah,
back
and
to people.
I'm not sure exactly where that, I know that, I was told that the water and the sewer both come off of Harley and come across Beekler's yard and down to your property. Now,
We have
is
Nobody
that,
knows, nobody knows.
when was that put in? Way
Oh,
back in the 70s?
Way back, El Bikini put it in, that's been a long time ago.
2002, and they
Well,
stated.
before 2002.
Well,
That'd be before that even.
Yeah.
what I'm wondering is, the city's responsible to the property line.
Yeah.
You know, for water, the city's responsible to the curb stop on Ms.
Property line.
Melker's property.
Yeah.
Right. And Ms. Melker is responsible from the curb stop to her,
Right.
So,
each
Yeah.
building.
who authorized to put in the curb stops down here in front of the restaurant?
Your previous mayor, I've got the letters, and from Mike and Bentley.
Mike engineer.
Public Works Director, I've got all the letters right here for
Okay, so
everybody.
they authorized the,
Yeah, that was where
That
they
was-
wanted it, and over
We're gonna have to eat all of
$60,000 worth of work with the mulchifiers that went in for sewage, and these curb stops and all this work, it was $60,000. So,
You know, I'm gonna honestly tell you, I empathize with your problem, I really do.
and I have been the most patient person in the world.
Yes, I know.
For years and years, not having sewage in
And
the winter, and
what
for-
really frustrates me to no end is that these problems have been going on for a long time. And now, all of a sudden, they're
I
coming
waited,
to
I
this
waited
council
my 5 years,
until, you
like
know,
it said in the paperwork that I had to do. And, I mean, back in the resolution that was done in 2002, 5/6 of 2002, you were to provide him with water and sewage. And it was part of the thing of getting them annexed in. And then when we went through our stuff with the house and everything else, you did additional paperwork, the other resolution that states that what you're gonna do. And within 5 years, and you didn't do it.
I think you're referring to the service plan? Is that correct?
Yes,
That's what's required every time an annexation occurs, is they have to file a service plan, and it's what they're going to do for the whole development. And if you read that service plan carefully, it indicates municipal services to annex plan. Under E, it says it's the plan of the town of Fromberg. Municipal services will be available to the property that is annexed within a reasonable time, generally not to exceed 5 years, on substantially the same basis and in the same manner as such services are available to the rest of the municipality. That's where you go back to the ordinances regarding septic and water, okay? And for septic, when you're putting in a septic line, you as the property owner are required to follow the ordinance requirements there. And that is to city, the hookup to the city, okay? All the way from your property line to that city. I agree with you, it doesn't speak to repair of lines, so that would
The thing of it
suggest.
was, is this wasn't done by me. It states right in here, I have my glasses on, it states right in here how Aldo Keeney had to put in the grinders and all the pumps and everything that were in there. This states in here that he had to do all this stuff. This was in 2002.
That's when they annexed the restaurant.
They didn't annex the restaurant, they annexed in the property next to the
I know, we cleared
restaurant.
that up, and we got the whole chunk taken
Okay.
care of at your request,
Right.
okay, the town did, all right? So now it's all annexed, okay?
Whatever you say, it doesn't really matter. I'm just saying that everything was done on our part that we had to do.
Okay. So what do you want? I know at the last meeting, you asked for a list of things that you wanted the town to do, okay? And you provided it via email, is that correct?
No, I gave her a letter
Yeah.
and she signed, and she signed for it.
Yep, and
Receipt
everybody's
of
got
letter.
it, everybody's got it in their packets. And I sent you a copy of everything.
I think there was a hand here.
Right, and that's why I just asked him just a minute to wait. That's why I just asked Mrs. Melker about an easement. Was there ever one filed? And she said no, not that they could find.
This is what DEQ has a problem with.
Right.
You have to have an easement for the sewage and an easement for, we've had Carter out there too. We know that where the sewage line break is, it's quite a ways off our property. It's adjacent to Bink, well, you know where it is. It's in your city guy was out there. We showed him where our property lines start, how far this is off of our actual property line. And
There's a,
it's been, Mike, when he worked here, he dug there every year he was on that corner and we knew we were backing up because he was there digging again. So it's not nothing new to the town that that's where the break is. It might be something new to all of you, but
Yes,
it's
it
not,
is.
yeah, it's not nothing new.
a lot of the
We've been
problems that
dealing
we're
with this
facing are new. yeah.
for going on 7 years now. And I can't very well sell a house with no water and sewage that only works during the summertime.
Okay, so at the meeting that I was at with you,
Right.
and Mr. Perkins was here with you and the council, and we said then that we would want you to make a list of what you think should be done and what you think you're responsible for and the town is responsible for.
And that's what I did.
And so, and this is in the letter that you just
Yes.
gave us.
Yep.
Because we're gonna have to get those lines located and a couple other things, so.
I mean, last time we had the meeting here, I was led to believe that we were gonna move forward with this and everything was. And
That was my feeling.
And then, all of a sudden, you know, it's like I came in and 2 days here, 3 days before I put the house up on the sale for market because I didn't want, you know, my realtor to be blindsided by all this stuff. And sure enough,